Well, today's Culture Spot pauses to remember a day in March when the Wiggles turned up at the Triple J studios and sang a Tame Impala song. And then that moment just a few weeks ago when their cover of Tame Impala's Elephant was voted #1 on Triple J's Hottest 100. If you've missed the news, here's a little snippet.
Hi, I'm Murray Wiggle.
Hi, I'm Emma Wiggle from The Wiggles, and we covered Tame Impala's Elephant.
For like a version.
The Wiggles love animals, and so we chose it because we like elephants.
And it was kind of a tribute to Tame Impala as well, who are amazingly successful and brilliant, as it turns out.
We've seen Tame Impala a lot at the Arias. We've not really ever had a meeting per se, but we're very much inspired by the band. When we got into it, we didn't realise how complex it would be.
I was actually really thrilled when Anthony contacted me and said, we're doing this song for like a version and do you want to come and play on it? And I mean, we still have a lot of contact, we see each other, but I don't play with these guys so much. You know, I was a little nervous because I only made it to one rehearsal, but
You smashed it.
I did all right.
Yeah. But if you notice, if you look closely in the video, I've got a whole sheet of notes on the top drum because I needed to.
Actually, I kept looking at Emma saying, is that it?
7, 8, and 1, 2, 3. Because it's so complex. We wouldn't normally play songs that are like that.
No, we sort of just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fruit salad, yummy, yummy.
Well, thanks to that cultural phenomenon, I'm now listening to Tame Impala, which I've learned is a music project of Kevin Parker, who is a one-man phenomenon when he's in the studio, but when they're live, it becomes a band. And I've even learned that in October of this year, Tame Impala did a concert dressed as the Wiggles and Captain Feathersword. Here are some reasons why this is all wrong. Triple J has a unique role in supporting fresh Australian artists. The Wiggles have been around for 30 years. Jeff Wiggle is now the oldest person to be on the Hottest 100 #1. And shouldn't the #1 honour original music and not covers? What's going on? Was it an ironic vote, or worse, a cynical vote by Triple J listeners? What is a children's group doing playing music that is best appreciated by stoners or people on some psychedelic trip? But let's dig deeper. The Hottest 100 attracted 3.2 million voters in 2019 and has been identified as the world's biggest music democracy. I imagine that there are fake identities and duplications in those voting numbers, but still, that's a pretty impressive cultural barometer. And I think if you let yourself ponder the Wiggles singing Tame Impala, you can see some deep longings of our culture going on. One is nostalgia. The ABC wrote on its website, "Your hottest song of 2021 comes from an iconic Australian band celebrating 30 years, covering a 2012 track for a beloved radio segment, like a version, that's been running for 17 years. That's a whole lot of history packed into a single song." There's nostalgia here, which is perhaps a longing of our culture. Wisdom literature would tell us that nostalgia is not that helpful because time is really more cyclical. But there's a longing here, and maybe we can dig a bit deeper. I think something that's good and beautiful in what's going on here is that there's an expressing of honour of other people. The event has got me thinking about what is going on culturally when somebody covers the music of somebody else. Well, it says, "I can appreciate art that others have produced." It says, "I can still bring something to it from my talents." And that as a community, we can kind of enjoy, oh, wow, here's that old song remixed. We can share together in this honouring that goes on between musicians. I think there are deep longings here then for community and connection. Hear the deep longings here from Bryce Mills, a breakfast co-host on Triple J. Watching people who defined your childhood stand in front of you and play a song from an artist that's helped define your early adulthood is really weird, but really joyous. A lot of people around the world felt the same way, and it resulted in a cover that not only Triple J listeners loved, but their parents and younger relatives too. When it was on the news, we thought, Gerard, it's the Wiggles. Manning, it's Tame Impala. Oh, Lisa and Kirk, it's the old Wiggles. So we had this 3-generational thing happening in our house. The Like a Version segment on Friday mornings on Triple J grows from strength to strength. I notice it now on ABC iView, and apparently the Wiggles and a number of Australian bands are now working on a collaborative album where they're going to cover each other's work. Fantastic. Cover versions are about mutual honouring, individual giftedness, shared community. Mutual honouring, individual giftedness, shared community. I reckon you could easily find support for these values being part of the goodness and beauty of Christian community at its best. I wonder if there's something we can work with here. And finally, there's a longing for simplicity here, isn't there? In the original, the elephant may be about a self-important person, but Anthony simply wore an elephant trunk because, as Emma said, we love animals. The ABC website writes, whether conscious or not, elephant reminded us of simpler times. Memories of vibing out to Tame with a vast sea of humans. I think they were called music festivals. Or even further back to our childhoods, our first ever shows with musical heroes, Dorothy the Dinosaur, Captain Feathersword, and a bunch of finger wagglers in matching skivvies. And of course, imagine the audacity of putting fruit salad, yummy, yummy, in the middle of a Tame Impala song, the simplicity of that. Jesus taught that simple, trusting children have a lot to teach us. And Isaiah said, when a child can lead a wolf and a lamb and a psychedelic pop group and play near a viper's nest, then you will know that harm and destruction are over and that the earth is filled with the knowledge of the Lord. How many generations have been honouring that hope and singing about it?